So first of all, just for those of you that may not know, congratulations. You recently won the Harper Bazaar TV Actress Award.
Yeah!
Can you describe kind of what that was all about?
It was Women of the Year. But it was really lovely because I just wrapped Victoria like a week ago and obviously haven't seen anybody. So Peter came and to present it to me, which was really
Was
nice.
that a surprise?
No, I kind of knew. I kind of knew he was doing it. But yeah, it was lovely. It was like a proper kind of catch up and then he had to stand up and do a speech and all that. It was really nice.
What is your relationship like with Peter and Matt and all your other co-stars?
Really?
Like after the show has ended?
I don't know, I guess it's really warm. I suppose it's, I don't know, you've been part of something quite individual and I don't know what it is about that show, but it definitely kind of bonds you and you kind of feel like you've been part of, I don't know, like a club or something. Or I don't know if it is literally because you spend 10 months a year in Roadblock Studios in Cardiff, but also it's a bit like you spend every week saving the world together. Fictionally, and I think it kind of just, you get to know each other so well and you come to rely on each other so well because it's so, you know, it's such a two-hander, I suppose. But I think it's the adventure as well and the fairy tale and the kind of, just what the whimsical nature of the storytelling, I suppose, that makes it so special.
Have you been following any of the new series with Jodie Whittaker?
No, I haven't, and it's only because I wrapped literally a week ago. So I haven't seen anything yet because, you know, you end up filming 14-hour days. So I haven't seen a thing other than like the trailer. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I need to catch up, and I need to catch up soon because everybody else has seen it. I've been stuck in Victorian times for like quite a while, so I need to get out.
So that's actually a really good segue into one of the things I was kind of curious to talk to you about. Obviously people know you from Doctor Who, and obviously people know you from Victoria. Do you find that those are the same people? Is there like a Venn diagram of like Victoria fans and Doctor Who fans?
If I was going to say in very generic terms, and this is where I often go wrong, like usually, you know, at a convention, if a younger boy comes up to me and his mum, and it's usually the younger boy would maybe ask for a Doctor Who picture and his mum would ask for a Victoria picture. In very broad terms, and I can often get proved wrong.
So, but you're family approved, basically.
I'm family approved, yeah. There's something for all the family. Name a show.
Is there a difference in the way that, say, Doctor Who was made versus the way Victoria is made?
Oh God, yeah, huge difference. I mean, green screen for one. I mean, there is green screen in Victoria, in terms of creating like Buckingham Palace and Victorian London, but the nature of the way the sets are completely different. I mean, Doctor Who would be like really mad. There'd just be endless corridors built. You'd turn up each day and there's a whole different like world that has been built overnight by some like elves that come in the middle of the night, and I don't know how they do it. So you can turn up into a studio and, what was a Victorian mill the night before is then like, some space planet made of cotton wool or something mad. But as well, like the kind of stunts you do, like, it's funny how attuned you come to how normal the day would be as, you go into work, you get into makeup, and then you get hung upside down on some wires, you get thrown backwards off a mattress, you run through some corridors, you have a really amazing scene in the TARDIS, and then you go home. And it's like how quickly they change on Doctor Who became very normal, and it's very, very fast, whereas Victoria is all about just the whole setup and the production and the politics in every single scene. For example, who stupid things like, you've got a whole production of the carriages roll in, and it's like a big argument of who gets out the carriage first and who takes precedence in the historical advisor, and you have to get wigs and hair and makeup and beards checked before. I didn't mean to look directly at you when I said that. I'm so sorry. That was complete fluke. Beards checked. Before you go.
I was thinking of him earlier too, with scars.
So yeah, they're such different beasts entirely. They couldn't be more different, in fact.
In terms of your kind of preparation for the role of Victoria, What did you do a lot of historical research? Were you kind of investigating what the character was like, what the real person was like?
Yeah, the problem is there's so much. I mean, I could spend years, literally years, just prepping and researching because you've got all of the biographies, and she herself wrote in her diary almost every single day of her life. So she's got over 62 million words. So it's like amazing, but also like, oh my goodness, to try and like get through it. And also it's like, we went around Kensington Palace and they were incredible and showed us, you know, I went into the bedroom where she was born and brought up, and they gave me access to her diaries, her clothes and all sorts of stuff. It was, the research has been amazing actually. And I always go as far as each series goes, so then the next series I can pick up. Otherwise, you know, I just wouldn't sleep or film it ever because there's so much.
Do you find playing a historical character that you get caught up in her head and start thinking of things the way she might think of things?
No, I find there's definitely a bit of Victoria that can come out in quite an hilarious way because she's very like forthright and quite, so you know, if you've been playing that part all day and you're like, yes, you know, kind of very in that, you know, and then suddenly you go and order from a restaurant and then you're still in that same like forthright, and then you realise, no, hang on, it takes like, there's some of that sometimes I think that can slip through. But it's one of the most amazing things about playing her as well, because she just really doesn't care what people think about her at all, and that's quite freeing.
So let's rewind a little bit. How did you get started acting? Like, what were some of your inspirations? What inspired you to become an actress?
I just used to read a lot, to be honest. I used to read a lot of books, and then I used to dance, actually. That's kind of where I first started. And then I joined a school which had an amazing theatre company. So I was mainly like books and theatre, really. I mean, telly was not huge in my house. I do remember going to watch My Girl at the cinema and that being like the first thing that really made me cry, and being like, oh my God, really overwhelmed that something I could watch on the TV could actually make me cry, and also being like mortified and trying to not. The Lion King did that to me as well, though, actually.
So what was the transition like from dancing and kind of the early acting into television?
Well, I started doing something called, do you know what the Edinburgh Fringe is here? Edinburgh Fringe Festival. It's like a theatre festival where you have to beg and persuade people to come and see your show that you set up, and you'd be amazed if you could get 8 people in the audience and go out in like costume and flyer, and it's like a really big festival up in Scotland. So I was doing that for a couple of years while doing my exams and things. And got a really small agent, which I thought instead of working in a bar, if I could like walk as a walk-on and watch people, and then through that got an audition for my first TV show. So I ended up not going to drama school or anything.
And the first TV show was Emmerdale?
Emmerdale, bet you don't know that. Do you know it? Yeah. It's like Days of Our Lives, basically, except for it's set on a farm in Yorkshire, and I played the vicar's niece.
So
who ended up killing a copper with a chair leg, and she's now in prison.
Oh, spoiler alert.
To protect her lesbian lover.
That was way more exciting than you made it out to be.
I know, I just haven't got started yet. So I'm currently still in prison there.
So what, and I know, and my friends back home would kill me if I didn't ask you about your time on Captain America First Avenger.
Oh yeah.
Which they all said, well, you have to ask her about Captain America First Avenger. So do you have any kind of memories from that?
I remember being, in fact, that was fairly soon after I'd left Emmerdale, and I got this, I can't remember what the code name for that audition was. Oh man, what was it? Frostbite. That was it. It was called, I auditioned for this thing called Frostbite, and had to sign like all secret NDAs, and I went for an audition, and it was literally like, imagine you're looking at this car raising up, and now the car drops, and it was the most bizarre audition, and it ended up being for a small part in Captain America, basically. But it was amazing, because in terms of being on a big set like that, and green screen, and experiencing that movie world, and being able to go in with a small part, but watching everybody and what they did, and how they were in between takes, and it was an amazing introduction, like cameras on cranes, but I do remember there was this one take, because I didn't understand what a big production the whole setup was, and there was a whole sequence where we walked in the convention centre, I think it was, or something, but we had to walk in and our cameras are on cranes and it's all choreographed and the whole thing was, and then I moved towards the front of the camera and watched Dominic Cooper doing something or other. I don't fully remember, but I didn't hit my mark and I didn't realise that was like a big deal. So I didn't hit my mark and the camera was there and I was acting away and I suddenly felt this like, there's somebody slapping my legs. And basically some dude had like moved along to like basically move me towards my mark so I didn't mess the whole shot up. So I'm sure there must be one take, I have no idea if it's the one they use where I'm like, sort of like slapping my legs and then I move and hit the right mark. So that was a learning experience. Hit your mark.
Hit your mark.
Hit your mark, otherwise you get slapped legs.
And